Tom, how would you like to be remembered?
Oh, dear Lord. A guy who can make really good breakfast for the family. You know, I have to say, that's a very interesting question, and I will tell you that I have felt good enough about the work that I've been able to land in to say it'll speak for itself. You're a movie buff. I mean, you enjoy movies. In America, there's a TV channel that shows nothing but old films. Old films that are not big and popular. Old films that just played, like old Robert Mitchum films or movies from the 40s and 50s that aren't particularly huge but are still there. And every time I look at them, I think, this movie and the people in it will live eternally. The actors in it, the people who wrote it, the people who shot it, the people who built it, their work is going to be as permanent as the Parthenon. Their work is going to be as permanent as the Great Pyramids. It will always be there, and that gives me solace.
Are we ready? Shall we do this? Bonjour. Bonjour, Tom Hanks.
Good to see you, Gus.
Your character in Elvis, Colonel Parker, is the man in the shadows of one of America's greatest heroes, and I'm wondering, for you, who have played so many lead characters, what makes a hero?
Well, I think a hero is someone who acts despite all the fears that go along with it. A hero has this instinctive quality about them that says, despite everything bad that can happen, I will act. I will move forward.
So, you know, of course, I can't help thinking of Forrest Gump, of Chuck Nolan in Castaway, of Sully, of Andrew Beckett in Philadelphia.
My whole curricular vitae, yeah.
Well, you very often played, Tom, ordinary men that unexpectedly become heroes. Does it mean a hero doesn't have to be exceptional?
No, I think most heroes are quiet people that just go about and do the right thing. You know, I actually think heroes are kind of a dime a dozen. I think you in the course of today, all of us in the course of today, have come across somebody who, despite all the odds against them, have shown up to do their jobs or to show up and raise their kids. Heroes, I think, are too easily celebrated because they can also be artificially manufactured, and I think that's where the danger is.
And you said several times about yourself that you were just an ordinary guy that came to do extraordinary things by proxy. Could that be a definition of an actor?
Oh, I think actors, unfortunately, live by proxy, and it drives some of us insane because the tendency is somehow to adopt the qualities that someone else has created in script. Now, it's, you know, and it could be anywhere from Shakespeare to Moliere to Baz Luhrmann. And as a human being, it's like putting on plates of armor when you're playing somebody who, on film or in a story, discovers himself, does the right thing, stands up boldly, or survives something like, you know, being lost on a desert island or a plane crash in the middle of the Hudson somewhere. That can monkey around with your head. It can turn you into a little bit of a infant in thinking that you will always get what you want, you will always win at the end of the day, and someone, because they've seen the movie and liked it, will give you credit for something you actually didn't do.
But the problem is, when you become quite famous, Tom, how do you disappear behind a character when you happen to be Tom Hanks?
I must say, we all carry our countenance along with us into whatever job we do, with the off chance that people will say, I will invest my time with him. I think it's an agreement that everybody in the movie has with everybody in the audience, that they know what they're buying. They know they're not watching a documentary. They're going to know that they're coming in to see a story that has been created just for them.
But still, you're hiding yourself.
Well, you have to be, because I think what the audience demands is this: an authentic representation of what they themselves could go through. When I go to the movies, I am moved by films, even if they're in a different culture or a different language or people of different colors, where I think I've been through that same thing with that man or woman or old lady or has been through. I know what they've been through.
Fascinating, because you know what amazes me in the characters that you played, that I quoted, is that they all say something about America. What do you feel you say about your country through your career, Tom?
I am an American. Period, the end. There's no, I mean, I could try to come up with a funny accent or a dialect. I could try to talk like you, Gus, but I will still always be deep down inside the American that I grew up to be. It's a permeating, pervasive culture that I grew up with that I knew that was unique at the time I was doing it. I think that what I have come to understand is our country lives by the preamble of our Constitution. It starts off, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. That means our job is to constantly weigh ourselves, look at where we are as a society and think, is this improvable? Is there a different form of freedom or justice? And the answer is always, always, always yes. We are not the perfect nation we are. And we're only going to get a little bit more perfect if we all decide in order to work together.
And that's one of the big questions about Baz Luhrmann's movie. What does Elvis say about America? And at what point in the movie there's this sentence, he had divided the nation. What division are we talking about here?
Elvis particularly, he came along and said, we are not you. We, the younger generation, do not have the connection that you older folks have to this world. We did not live through a depression. We did not fight a great war. Instead, we are living in kind of like a magnificent republic where, guess what? We have money, and we have cars, and we have gas, and we have the freedom that goes along with it, and also the abilities that go along with it. So what are we going to do with it? Well, one of the things that I think the human condition demands is some form of joy and celebration. And you find that where you can, and if you're lucky, you live at a time where a phenomenal, transformative artist like Elvis Presley comes along in the course of very, very famous people. Charlie Chaplin, Elvis, maybe the Beatles. Their joy and their artistry translated to every culture in the world. You could see a Charlie Chaplin movie on a wall in a hillside village in Africa, and you would understand what Charlie Chaplin is going through. And I would say the same thing for the music of Elvis Presley.
But Elvis tells us a tale about fame, about celebrity, that can be extreme, that can be very intense, about how strong you have to be to cope with that.
I think that you have to learn from the myriad mistakes that you make. I think at the end of the day, every artist is finished with a project. Saying, okay, I'm done with it. That's all I can say about it. I followed my instincts. That's all I have. And every artist then has to ask himself, was it enough? Did I say what I wanted to say? And I think you can look at Elvis at some point, and that's the reason why the 1968 comeback special was such a... Look, I was alive when Elvis did the 1968 comeback special, and I'll tell you why I didn't watch it. Because Elvis was a has-been as far as I was concerned. He was a guy who was in very lousy movies again and again and again every Saturday night on TV. Had I seen the comeback special, I would have seen the artist that he was. When you cannot create what is deep down inside your heart as an artist and you let other people shape you and steer you, I think that's when you start asking yourself, why am I doing this at all?
And what struck me in the movie, Tom, is that Elvis's life for him is a failure. The failure of someone who wanted to be remembered as the next James Dean, as an actor.
It might be this, Gus. It might very well be that, look, if you are touched by God, like Elvis was, you don't have a choice in the other disciplines that you'd like to pursue. Could Elvis been as great an actor as James Dean? Yeah. But could James Dean have been as great a singer and performer as Elvis? The answer is no. Elvis, towards the end of it, he thought, no one's going to remember me. No one's going to remember who Elvis. I'll just be some guy in a monkey suit who dressed up very nicely.
At one point in the movie, your character has this horrifying sentence, I have to say. I hate it when you pronounce this sentence. He says, maybe it's time for me to retire. This is never going to happen, Tom, is it?
I don't have to, because I will always be able to do something at the age that I'm at, you know?
And also, there's an asteroid in the space that is called 12818 Tom Hanks. That's a way. You didn't know that?
I did not know there was an asteroid named after me. That's pretty cool. Who did that?
I don't know. But it seems to me that you're more of a star.
Probably about that big, and you know, it's on its way out of the cosmos already.
Well, it's funny you have this interpretation, because it seems to me, you're more of a star than you pretend to be.
Well, okay, all right. I'm aware of the aspects of the social responsibility that goes along with it. I feel that I have had look, I've been doing this long enough that I stopped doing it for any sort of social purchase a long time ago. I only do it because I'm fascinated at the opportunity. I get a free sandwich when I work. The people are a great hang, and out of that comes something from me that I could not have created unless I had been part of a great collaborative effort. I feel very lucky like that.
Thank you so much, Tom. Tell me, do you cook good breakfast? Because that's the real question.
Dude, I can't handle a lunch or a dinner to save my life, but give me a hot grill, some eggs, and some good toast, some right amount of protein and some fruit, you'll eat well at my house. I'll start you off good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gus. Great talking to you.